In the vast expanse of space, humanity had always thought we were alone. That was until first contact in 2157, when the Galactic Council's scout ships appeared in our solar system. Their arrival wasn't what we expected. No dramatic invasion, no world-ending threats. Instead, they came with clipboards and regulations, treating Earth like a newly discovered wildlife preserve that needed proper documentation. Your species shows remarkable potential, they said, their translator devices struggling to convey their condescending tone. But you're simply too young to join the Council. Perhaps in a few thousand years, they established an observation post on Mars, promising to check on our progress periodically, like teachers monitoring a particularly rowdy classroom. For 50 years, we played nice. We smiled and nodded at their quarterly inspections, filled out their endless forms about our technological advancement, and pretended not to notice when they referred to us as the primitive ones in their reports. All the while, we were learning, adapting, and most importantly, preparing. What the Council didn't understand was that humans had spent millennia surviving on a planet that tried to kill us daily. Earthquakes, hurricanes, volcanoes. Earth had thrown everything at us, and we'd not only survived but thrived. We built civilizations in deserts, in Arctic wastelands, and even in the shadow of active volcanoes. Their comfortable worlds, terraformed to perfection over millions of years, had made them soft. The breaking point came during the resource assessment of 2209. A junior council member, fresh from the academy, decided Earth would make an excellent mining outpost for rare minerals. The indigenous species can be relocated, he wrote in his proposal, not realizing his transmission was intercepted by our quantum decoders. Their current usage of resources is inefficient anyway. That's when we decided to show them exactly what these primitive ones could do. We launched Operation Earth's Fury, a plan so audacious it would either earn us a seat at the Council or get us permanently blacklisted from the galactic community. Either way, we were done being the galaxy's footnote. Using technology we'd reverse engineered from their educational materials, we activated a network of devices that had been secretly installed around their Mars base. These devices didn't fire weapons or launch attacks. They did something far worse. They simulated Earth's natural disasters, the very forces that had forged humanity into what we are. The Council members stationed on Mars woke up to their first ever earthquake. As their perfectly regulated environment began to experience random temperature fluctuations, unpredictable weather patterns, and gravitational anomalies, panic set in. These beings, who had never known anything but controlled environments, suddenly found themselves facing a tiny fraction of what humans dealt with every day. Within hours, their distress signals reached the Council's central command. But this was just the beginning. As emergency response ships approached Mars, they encountered something unprecedented. A diplomatic team from Earth, waiting calmly in the middle of what the Council considered a catastrophic crisis. Shall we discuss that seat on the Council now? Our ambassador transmitted, as another carefully controlled tremor shook the Martian surface. Or would you prefer a demonstration of what monsoon season feels like? The look on their faces, all 7 of them, was priceless. But their response and the chain of events it triggered would change the fate of both humanity and the Galactic Council forever. As news of Earth's vicious revenge spread through the galaxy, species that had ignored us for centuries suddenly started paying very close attention to the little blue planet that dared to stand up to the Council. The Council chambers erupted into chaos as the emergency broadcast from Mars played across their neural networks. Species that had coexisted peacefully for millennia were now pointing appendages at each other, demanding explanations and assigning blame. The humans, those supposedly primitive beings, had not only managed to reverse engineer their technology, but had done so with such precision that even their best scientists couldn't detect the modifications until it was too late. "This is unprecedented," shouted Representative Zix of the Centauri Alliance, their crystalline form vibrating with agitation. How did they hide this level of advancement from our scanners? The answer was beautifully simple. We hadn't hidden our advancement at all. We'd hidden our potential, letting them see exactly what they expected to see, a young species stumbling toward the stars. Back on Mars, our diplomatic team, led by Commander Sarah Chen, maintained their composed demeanor despite the growing tension. The simulation devices continued their work, creating a perfect replica of Earth's unpredictable nature. A dust storm whirled outside the Council's Mars base, while underground tremors kept their artificial gravity systems in constant recalibration mode. Perhaps, Chen suggested, her voice steady as she addressed the panicking council members, we should discuss why your species found it so easy to dismiss ours as primitive. She pulled up a holographic display showing Earth's history, not of our wars or technological achievements, but of our constant battle against nature itself. While you were terraforming planets to be perfect paradise worlds, we were learning to dance with destruction. The display showed humans building cities in floodplains, constructing earthquake-resistant structures, and creating early warning systems for natural disasters. It showed how we turned our planet's hostile environments into opportunities for growth and innovation. Each image was a testament to humanity's resilience, our refusal to be broken by the very forces that had shaped us. The council members watched in stunned silence as they began to understand. Their perfect worlds had created perfect beings, perfectly unprepared for anything they couldn't control. Meanwhile, Earth's harsh lessons had taught humanity to adapt, to improvise, and most importantly, to survive. But as our message began to sink in, something unexpected happened. The younger council members, particularly those from species who had joined the council more recently, started showing signs of admiration. They saw in humanity something their own civilizations had lost generations ago, the raw, untamed spirit of adaptation and survival. Your species, began one of the younger council members, their bioluminescent patterns shifting with excitement. You've managed to weaponize evolution itself. It wasn't entirely accurate, but the sentiment was clear. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't our technology or our intelligence, but our experience with chaos itself. Commander Chen was about to respond when the Council's emergency alert system activated. Multiple ships were dropping out of faster-than-light travel near Mars, but they weren't Council reinforcements. The identification signals were coming from various independent worlds, planets and species that had been denied Council membership over the centuries for being too unstable or culturally incompatible. They had been watching, waiting, and now they saw an opportunity. Humanity hadn't just challenged the Council's authority. We had exposed a fundamental flaw in their perfect system. As the new ships moved into position around Mars, the galaxy held its breath, wondering if this was the beginning of a revolution or the start of something even more extraordinary. The arrival of the independent world's ships transformed the standoff into something far more complex. These weren't just random vessels. They represented civilizations that had developed on worlds just as challenging as Earth. The desert dwellers of Kepler 186f, who survived their planet's deadly sandstorms. The methane brothers of HD 40,307 grams, who built cities beneath their world's crushing atmospheric pressure. All of them had watched humanity's bold move with keen interest. Commander Chen's diplomatic team exchanged meaningful glances as their communication systems lit up with incoming transmissions. The independent worlds weren't here to start a war. They were here to stand with Earth. As their representatives began transporting down to the Mars base, the Council members found themselves facing not just humanity's challenge, but a fundamental question about their entire system of galactic governance. For too long, Chen addressed the now expanded assembly, her voice carrying the weight of not just Earth's future, but potentially the galaxy's. The Council has defined civilization by its ability to control nature. But true civilization isn't about control. It's about adaptation, resilience, and growth through adversity. As if to emphasize her point, another carefully controlled tremor rippled through the base. The Council's senior members huddled together, their universal translators working overtime as they discussed this unprecedented situation. Their perfectly ordered galaxy was unraveling before their eyes, all because they had underestimated a species that had learned its greatest lessons from a planet that never stopped testing them. Meanwhile, Earth's orbital defense grid detected something massive emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. The energy signature matched nothing in our database, and even the Council members looked concerned. A ship bigger than anything humanity had ever seen appeared, its design ancient and unlike anything currently used in the galaxy. The vessel's presence sent ripples of tension through both Council and independent world representatives. "The architects," whispered one of the eldest Council members, their voice trembling. These were the legendary founders of the Galactic Council, a species so advanced they had retreated from regular galactic affairs ages ago, leaving their creation, the Council, to govern in their stead. No one had seen an architect ship in over 1,000 years. Their sudden appearance now, just as humanity challenged the very foundations of their grand design, couldn't be coincidence. The simulation devices controlling our Earth-like conditions on Mars suddenly seemed very small compared to the weight of this moment. Commander Chen stood her ground as the massive ship established communication. The message that came through was simple, yet it shook the foundations of everything the Council had built. "We have been watching. It is time for change." The architects hadn't come to punish humanity for disrupting their system. They had come because we had proven something they had been waiting millennia to see, that true strength comes not from creating perfect order, but from learning to thrive within chaos. As the architect ship moved into orbit around Mars, the Council chambers fell into an uneasy silence. The next few moments would determine not just humanity's fate, but the future of galactic civilization itself. Commander Chen took a deep breath, knowing that everything they had planned, everything they had risked, had led to this moment. The universe itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what would happen when humanity's hard-earned wisdom met the galaxy's oldest power. As the architect ship hovered in Mars' orbit, their second message changed everything. The Council was never meant to be permanent. It was an experiment, one that has run its course. The revelation sent shockwaves through the Assembly. The mighty Galactic Council, which had governed space for millennia, had been nothing more than a test, an experiment to observe how species would handle absolute order. The Council members' reactions ranged from denial to outrage, but the architects weren't finished. Their third transmission cut through the chaos like a knife. But humanity's test begins now. The massive ship's energy readings suddenly spiked, and before anyone could react, a blinding light engulfed the Mars base. When the light faded, they weren't on Mars anymore. The entire base, along with all its occupants, human diplomats, Council members, independent world representatives, and even the architects themselves, had been transported to a massive arena-like structure floating in deep space. Through its transparent walls, they could see Earth in the distance, but something was wrong. "Your planet," the architect's voice resonated through their minds, "is about to face its greatest challenge." On the massive display screens that materialized around them, they watched in horror as Earth's natural systems began to destabilize. Volcanic activity worldwide increased exponentially, tectonic plates shifted at unprecedented rates, and weather patterns spiral into chaos. This wasn't a simulation. This was real. Commander Chen's face paled as she realized the cruel irony. They had used Earth's natural disasters to prove humanity's worth, and now the architects were using the same method on a global scale. "You claim to have mastered chaos," the architects continued. "Now prove it. Save your world." The independent world's representatives stepped forward immediately, offering their help. They understood better than the Council ever could. This wasn't just humanity's test anymore. This was a chance to prove that cooperation born from shared adversity was stronger than any imposed order. But the Council members weren't done yet. The younger ones, inspired by humanity's example, broke ranks with their elders. "The old ways are finished," they declared, offering their advanced technology and resources to help Earth. However, the senior Council members saw one last chance to maintain their power. In the chaos, they managed to send a secret transmission to their hidden fleet, a fleet designed for situations exactly like this. As humanity and their new allies scrambled to coordinate Earth's defense, the Council's doomsday ships emerged from hyperspace. These weren't ordinary vessels. They were planet killers built in direct violation of the Council's own laws. Their message was clear. If the old order was to fall, they would make sure nothing remained to replace it. Commander Chen watched in growing horror as the situation spiraled beyond anything they had anticipated. Earth was facing destruction from both natural and artificial threats. The architects seemed content to observe without intervening, and the galaxy stood on the brink of a war that could tear civilization apart. But in this darkest moment, something unexpected happened. The quantum processors in Earth's defense systems, reverse engineered from Council technology, started picking up unusual signals. They were coming from within the Council's doomsday ships themselves, signals that matched perfectly with Earth's own geological patterns. As Chen stared at the data, a wild theory began to form in her mind. Perhaps this wasn't just a test of humanity's resilience. Perhaps there was something much bigger happening, something that would reveal the true nature of not just the Council, but of life in the galaxy itself. Commander Chen's realization hit like a thunderbolt. The patterns weren't just similar, they were identical. The Council's doomsday ships weren't weapons at all. They were terraforming devices, massive machines designed to stabilize planetary systems. The Council hadn't built them for destruction. They created them to save worlds, then hidden them away, hoarding the technology that could have helped countless civilizations. Stop. Ken's voice cut through the chaos of the command center. Those ships aren't your secret weapons. They're Earth's salvation, and you knew it all along. She turned to the architects, their crystalline forms shimming with what almost looked like approval. This whole crisis, it's not just a test of humanity's resilience. It's a test of our ability to see beyond conflict, to find solutions where others see only threats. The senior council members' composure cracked. You don't understand what you're talking about, one of them sputtered, but the data displaying across the arena's screens told a different story. The ship's energy signatures matched Earth's geological patterns perfectly because they were designed to harmonize with and stabilize planetary cores. The younger council members, along with the independent world's representatives, quickly grasped the implications. These ships could not only save Earth, but could help terraform and stabilize dozens of struggling worlds across the galaxy. The technology that could have lifted so many civilizations out of their struggles had been locked away in the name of maintaining order. But as the truth emerged, the architects revealed their final twist. The lights in the arena dimmed, and a holographic display filled the space around them. It showed Earth, but not as they knew it. This was Earth 4 billion years ago, when the planet was young and chaotic. And there, clear as day, were ships identical to the Council's doomsday fleet, helping to stabilize the young planet. Your ancestors, the architect's message resonated in their minds, were not the first humans. The ones who came before achieved what you have, but they chose isolation over cooperation. They hid away their knowledge, became the foundation of what you now call the Council, and forgot their own origins. Today's trial was not just about humanity's present. It was about remembering your past. The revelation struck like a physical blow. The Council members, those who had looked down on humanity as primitive, were descended from ancient humans who had achieved interstellar travel billions of years ago. Their perfect, ordered worlds were built on forgotten human ingenuity. As this truth settled in, Earth's geological crisis reached its peak. Without hesitation, Commander Chen ordered the deployment of the fleet, not as weapons, but as they were originally intended. The ships moved into position around Earth, their ancient technology harmonizing with the planet's natural rhythms. The effect was immediate and breathtaking. Earth's systems began to stabilize, but not through forced control. Instead, the ships worked with the planet's natural chaos, creating a dynamic balance. The architect's final message echoed through the arena. The age of isolation is over. The age of cooperation begins. As Earth stabilized below them, humanity had not just earned its place among the stars. It had reclaimed its legacy as one of the galaxy's elder races. The Council was transformed, not destroyed, reborn as a true cooperative of civilizations united not by their perfection, but by their shared experience with adversity. Commander Chen looked out at the gathered representatives, seeing not enemies or rivals, but fellow travelers on an endless journey of discovery. As the first reports of Earth's successful stabilization came in, she allowed herself a small smile. They had faced the galaxy's greatest challenge and emerged stronger, not because they were perfect, but because they remembered what the Council had forgotten, that true strength comes from embracing chaos, not controlling it. In the days that followed, The transformation across the galaxy was profound. The former Council headquarters on Mars became the center for a new kind of galactic cooperation. The ancient terraforming fleet, hidden for so long, was now being used to help struggling worlds across the galaxy. Each mission brought together teams of humans, former Council members, and representatives from the independent worlds, all working together to share their unique experiences with planetary challenges. Commander Chen stood in Earth's new orbital station, watching as teams of scientists from dozens of worlds studied the restored balance of our planet's systems. The ancient human technology, combined with modern innovations from various civilizations, had created something unprecedented, a way to work with planetary forces rather than against them. Earth's volcanoes still erupted, earthquakes still shook the ground, but now these forces were part of a harmonious system rather than threats to be controlled. The most remarkable change wasn't in the technology or the politics. It was in the people. Former Council members, once obsessed with maintaining perfect order, now eagerly sought out challenges and new experiences. They had rediscovered their human heritage, and with it, the drive to explore and adapt that had led their ancestors to the stars. The independent worlds, no longer relegated to the fringes of galactic society, brought their own wisdom to the table. Their experiences with harsh environments had preserved knowledge that the ancient humans had forgotten. Together, they began rebuilding not just a governing body, but a true community of worlds. The architects made one final appearance before returning to their self-imposed exile. Their parting gift was access to their historical archives, documenting humanity's first journey to the stars. The records showed how fear of chaos had led those ancient humans to seek perfect order, eventually forgetting their own nature in the process. It was a reminder that progress isn't about eliminating challenges, but about learning to face them together. As Chen reviewed the latest reports from across the galaxy, she reflected on how their simple act of defiance, using Earth's natural disasters as a demonstration, had unlocked something far greater than they'd imagined. They hadn't just earned humanity a place among the stars. They'd helped the galaxy remember that diversity, adaptation, and even a little chaos were essential parts of growth. The new Galactic Cooperative, as it came to be known, established its founding principle: strength through diversity, wisdom through adversity. Every world that joined brought its own challenges and solutions, creating a network of knowledge and experience that made everyone stronger. Earth itself became a symbol of this new philosophy. Ships from across the galaxy would bring young diplomats and scientists to study how a world could be both chaotic and harmonious at the same time. The planet's ever-changing nature, once seen as a sign of its primitiveness, was now recognized as its greatest teacher. As Commander Chen prepared for her next mission, helping a distant world cope with its own geological instabilities, she took one last look at Earth through the station's viewport. The planet shimmered blue and green below, its swirling clouds and shifting continents a testament to the beauty of imperfection. Humanity had finally found its place in the galaxy, not by conquering chaos, but by showing others how to dance with it. And somewhere out there, watching with satisfaction, the architects knew their longest experiment had finally succeeded. The galaxy was ready for its next great adventure, led by those who had never forgotten how to learn from adversity. Humanity, in all its forms, both ancient and new,